Greetings viewers and welcome back. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for you tonight as always as we get into our inaugural match of DropZone here on the early access open beta now available on Steam. So this is open for everybody, so if you've been curious about the game, get on in here. We're heading to mine the gap with First Blood, Total Vision, and Alpha Strike as your objectives. On the blue side, we have Ohlee. On the red, AncientHeart. And both of these guys are top 10 leaderboard players. Both of these extremely well versed in this game, have been playing long since almost the beginning of the closed beta phase of this game. So let's see what they're bringing to the table. Both actually with fairly similar builds with Vice, Plutus, and Recon for Ohlee, Vice, Fury, and General Vex for AncientHeart. And actually fairly similar builds for both tanks and summoners now. We see the cloning Laser, Nullfield, and Plasma Drone, and what many would argue as the exemplary tank build for this meta with the Flamethrower, ECM locks, and Dino Vortex, bringing the damage, the bulk, and some utility on those tanky units. Fury and Recon already exchanging shots here on the southern side of the map. Ohlee never one to be shirking off a potential for an invade on his opponent's side. Recon jumping out of there in the nick of time. Plasma Drone actually, I think, wanted to go down there on that escape pad, but didn't quite manage to do so. Very dangerous being so deep into enemy territory and low on health with that First Blood objective out. Don't want to be giving up free points like that this early in the game. Recon still trying to steal a couple XP wherever he can. Ohlee's always very on top of it, very aggressive when it comes to this map. We see now AncientHeart jumping across the map as well, putting a little pressure on the vision tower, threatening Total Vision perchance. Let's see. Yeah, we do have Vice now doing the same thing, getting on that tower. Let's see if Ohlee responds. He doesn't have much time. He needs to get down there. He's got a tank responding right now, and it looks like Recon's also moving to engage. And no, he's actually not standing on the vision tower. Vice is actually flaming each other down, now not accomplishing much of anything. Now Plutus on the far side, getting blasted down by that cloning laser, and it looks like maybe it is. First Blood goes down for AncientHeart, along with the first upload going down here, and suddenly things are looking like a 4-0 lead on Ohlee. It looks like Ohlee's not going to be able to go down without a fight, though. We do see that tank getting obliterated by Recon there on retreat, and now a little reverse pressure. One rig down for both sides, so only two up, but still vision all over the map. We can see even AncientHeart making sure to snag that core from that fallen Recon. Or sorry, the fallen Plutus. Recon's still on the field up top, but man, what a strong opening from AncientHeart. 4 points is, of course, not an untenable return, but a strong opening like that, so long as he keeps the pressure on, it's going to be hard-pressed for Ohlee to get things back under control here, especially with AncientHeart going out of his way to make sure he snags all the cores from that side of the map. After taking the first two objectives and being 3 points up, now taking not one, but two of his opponent's cores, I think. Let's see. It is two cores still remain in Ohlee's hands. So a potential 4 cores to 2 after those initial hives go down. Let's see. Taking a look at the builds again, though, real quick. Actually, everything's... I like Ohlee's build a little better here, because let's see what he's got on the field. He's got Core Shelter along with Plutus's passive, which raises the armor of his allied rigs holding cores and lowers the armor of his opponent. So he has that along with Core Shelter, so that's plus 8 armor. And then frame instability from Recon, which lowers armor. He's all about getting those armor buffs and debuffs all over the game. So as similar as the builds are, I think Ohlee's is a little more cohesive for the time being. A little bit of a team scuffle happening here in the center. General Vex under a lot of stress right now. Recon charging in there. Recon doesn't have quite the same damage output as Fury does have both the combat rush and that shock prod ability. But Recon instead going for both the plasma rifle and battlecry, making him very quick and also giving him that activatable slow for his opponent. So if he finds a rig out of position, Recon can pretty singularly take that guy out if they are low enough health. It's a little trickier to get those kills sometimes on Mine the Gap, as it's trickier to flank, and the uplink is slightly closer to the dropship than it is on the Juggernaut map. But 3-5, Ohlee has managed to close that score gap a little bit. Still keeping pressure on wherever he can. And both sides farming away. Alpha's starting to go down over here for AncientHeart. AncientHeart slightly ahead on the farm for the time being. But things are pretty much neck and neck. We'll have to see if this top hive spawns relatively quickly, or whether this Recon might be able to steal himself an alpha kill at some point in the game as well. Putting some pressure on that Fury. The Fury is very low, but now blasting out all sorts of pressure. and unable to secure the kill. Recon just doing a little harass and whatever he can all over the map. Meanwhile, Vice and Plutus on the north side just continuing to keep that farm up. AncientHeart is about a squad level ahead of his opponents and is managing to stay a little quicker on his unlocks. We saw early in the game there with that General Vex dropping the cloning laser that took out that Plutus for the first blood, so that was a pretty pivotal point in that match. 3-5, however, though, and cores are starting to load up on both sides of the map. AncientHeart's pressuring the farming a bit quicker, which I agree with considering that Alpha Strike is an objective here. But he's kind of allowing Ohlee to potentially close the gap that was otherwise very much in his favor by not guarding the uplink at all. It's a bit of a mixed bag as to what you want to do on that, but I think going for that farm is probably the right choice. There's plenty of cores out here now. Now both summoners engaging here on the center. Nullfield is down for the opponent. Fury putting out the scatter laser, keeping both Recon and Plutus at bay while Vice does the uploading on the back end, continuing to ferry those cores to the tank and allow them to get down. Fury could even steal another core if she wasn't holding one of her own. Going a little deep into enemy territory, just trying to keep as much of that down as possible. Slow from the plasma drone, activated along with that plasma rifle slow. Actually, even with the combat rush, kept Fury pretty locked down there for the moment. With both the plasma drones and the cloning lasers out for these summoners, it makes actually approaching very difficult because the cloning lasers are out there, the plasma drones all tanking lots of extra damage and putting out a bit of their own. Both sides keeping those turrets up pretty constantly on the front line, and 9-9 now on the squad levels. The squad levels are all even up. General Vex trying to get an upload there, but it's going to cost her rig, and even, oh no, allows Recon to get the pick on that core that was just sitting out there for the taking. Vice continuing to farm on the south side, but the level 3 hives are starting to spawn for Ohlee. 3-3 on the Alpha Strike count. That's going to be a bonus 4 points to whoever gets 9 first. 5-8 right now, and another pick from Ohlee. Ohlee stealing a second core now in a matter of a few seconds here, leaving AncientHeart probably reeling here as the score closes to 7-8. It was a 4-point lead, now down to just a single point. AncientHeart keeping ahead on the farm by just a slight bit. But unfortunately, not really controlling the uplink at all and allowing Ohlee to close the gap just a little bit here. Vice has both those alphas lined up for that flamethrower, rips them both apart, gets huge heals off that pyroclastic molding, and continues to farm away. All the level 3 hives are up for AncientHeart, and both players just kind of ferrying around. No one's really engaging. It's all about that Alpha Strike count right now, as neither player has managed to steal an alpha from the opposing side. It looks like Ohlee is going to go for that pressure, though. Has Recon looking for something over here, but is he going to be quick enough? Things are sizing up here. Level 5 for Recon now unlocking his Orbital Strike. That final attack that he does have can be very influential in all these late game team fights. Spotting that last alpha that goes down here, is going to check the southern hive, find that there aren't any alphas on this side either, and it looks like the final 2 alphas are going down. He should have gone north instead of south, but unfortunately, it looks like AncientHeart's going to win the game of guesses there and earn himself another 4-point lead. Pretty much at the exact halfway mark here as these level 3 highs start going down. That's all going to be coming down to these team fights, as both players have been playing kind of a bit more of a passive farming game at this stage after that initial blowout by AncientHeart. AncientHeart still continuing to keep that lead. Now that 4 points is back in his favor with those objectives. He's managed to score all 3 objectives, so you can see he actually has 6 points ahead of Ohlee, but Ohlee's only 4 points behind, so Ohlee's actually scored 2 more cores than AncientHeart at this stage of the game. So AncientHeart is going to really have to start hunkering down and getting control of that uplink in these next couple battles. Let's see how things go from here. 6 minutes left as all 6 rigs start coming to the center here. Dino Vortex, along with that stunning entry from Fury, still not able to finish off Recon. Nothing to lock him down and keep him from escaping with that combat rush. I love opening with stunning entry, but I think when things like combat rush or reconstructive maneuver are on the field, you really have to save that combat rush for a finisher, not an opener. I think that would have allowed him to take out that Recon maybe. The Dino Vortex was enough to force his opponent out of position a little bit. I think Recon could have allowed for a kill right here. Recon again trying to pick up this core right here. All 3 rigs now with cores for the side of Ohlee, and now all the rigs are getting burned down by the flamers. Recon and Plutus perilously low. It looks like AncientHeart's going to push him off. Recon's looking for a way to get in here. I think he wants to drop that orbital, but he's so low, it's very dangerous. Vice keeping an eye on the enemy, and oh no, here comes the orbital strike, and the Dino Vortex pulling in all 3 rigs! It's a team wipe with so many cores on the uplink. That's going to be huge. This 5-point lead could easily disappear in the full minute that he now has to wait to get anything on the field with all his rigs now at level 5. That's a 1-minute respawn time, and with that is going to be the equivalent of at least 6 cores uploaded, because you can guarantee that Ohlee isn't going to let any of that time go to waste. Recon now ferrying out more cores. I'm sure he'll probably even go into enemy territory here and maybe look and spot this final core on this side of the map as well that is out there for easy pickings for that Recon. It looks like Vice is instead going to hang back, go heal up. The rigs are coming out onto the field in about 15 seconds here, and this is just an upload frenzy right now, scoring point after point for Ohlee, waiting for AncientHeart. AncientHeart is just probably reeling right now. And oh man, what a play. The perfect positioning of that tank with the Dino Vortex, targeted the other tank with the Orbital Strike, and then ripped all the other rigs right on top of it, managing to nab all 3 kills and completely turn around this game that was looking pretty much in the hands of AncientHeart. Even that engagement looked like it was all under control until AncientHeart stuck around a bit too long. You have to respect that level 3 Recon and that Orbital Strike. That Orbital Strike, as we saw, can be so very devastating if you're sitting in a pile, and that Dino Vortex, of course, is the tool to force you into that position. Plasma drones now littering the landscape here around the uplink, trying to make sure that no one has an easy approach and buying some time for Recon to try to get in on that squishy summoner, but it looks like it's not going to happen. He has to fall back. Plutus still manages to get the upload. Again, the Dino Vortex along with that stunning entry. Recon is trying to get home. Let's see. Fury's not moving to engage. Fury might have been able to get over there, but again, choosing to open with that instead of close with it. I guess, considering there's only 3 minutes left, maybe AncientHeart just wanted to force the rigs off and buy some time to get some uploads instead of actually going for the kills. But I would argue that we saw Dino Vortex used much more effectively with that Orbital Strike than we have been with Stunning Entry. Stunning Entry is great, but it's just not the direct damage, that sudden impact that we saw completely wipe out all 3 rigs of AncientHeart. The squad levels are pretty much neck and neck right now, along with the score. This game can go either way. It's all about the uplink, the team fights, and the control of the map at this stage in the game. All 3 rigs now moving down to get these Southern Hive, this last Tier 3 Hive. These are the only cores available for AncientHeart. I think maybe the better play would have been to try to go down and maybe steal some cores from his opponent, but instead, he's now forced to play reactively. This could come down to the last core if the game continues to push like this. All 3 rigs now outfitted with cores, the total of 4 cores on AncientHeart's side. 19 and soon to be 20 points for Ohlee. The game point is 22. There's only 43 possible points to score in a match. So after this score goes down, there's only 2 minutes remaining, but AncientHeart cannot allow the final 2 cores in Ohlee's hands to go down onto the uplink. Nullfield going down, trying to open a gap to allow these rigs to get in here. Dino Vortex going down. There goes the stun again. Plutus getting perilously low, trying to escape, but getting a little mixed up and going down to all that damage. It looks like AncientHeart has the advantage. 2 rigs to 1. Oh no, here comes the Orbital Strike again. Vex isn't going to get out of there. Gets obliterated, and now it's 2 on 2 with Vice looking pretty rough. Recon's going for the uplink. The Dino Vortex isn't up to stop the upload. 20 to 17, and the time just isn't there. Vice going for the upload with 90 seconds remaining. Fury looking desperately for a cord. She does know that there is one on this far side, but Ohlee was very quick to snag up that core from the fallen General Vex. 19 to 20 right here, and now the rigs are coming to a head. I don't even think the summoners are going to get back onto the field for this potential final team fight here. Vice is hanging out by the uplink. Good job just keeping that rig nearby. Does have the movement ability to rip one of these rigs off of the uplink if possible. Vice, even now level 5 with that armor mastery, needs to get back over there. It looks like he's going to allow this upload to happen. Let's see if he gets in. Drops the Dino Vortex. There it goes. Pulls the Vice off. And now Fury looking for a final core to upload. 19 to 20, and it could be going into overtime if Vice manages to get this upload off. The Dino Vortex is still available for Ohlee. and with only 30 seconds remaining, all the cores coming back onto the field, all the rigs rather, the cores are all available on the field, and now, what is this Vice doing? Not even waiting for that upload. I don't know why Fury's going so deep after this injured Vice. Recon's out here ready to crush this tank who's trying so desperately to upload. The ECM locks aren't available. The paradigm shift from Plutus locks down and secures that final kill with the 2 rigs just hanging back at the dropship of Ohlee. AncientHeart throws in the towel for the last 30 seconds of the map, realizing that he kind of got outpositioned and outmaneuvered, got a little too greedy for that tank kill at the end. It came down to those last few seconds of the game and that final kill. Ohlee was just on the back foot for a lot of that game. All of the objectives going to the hands of AncientHeart, but man, those Recon Orbital Strikes were pivotal in both situations. The triple kill for his opponent, where even was that? That was right here, I think. All 3 going down to Recon, and then, of course, finishing off that General Vex right in front of her dropship with the second Orbital Strike, using that tank as the forward spotter. That was really excellent use of that special move. Man, I mean, we've been seeing the stunning entry be the weapon of choice recently with this tanky Fury, but I think we saw really what Recon brings to the table in the way of that special move, in the way of all that armor he negates. A lot of players have been playing kind of this big heavy armor build with Fury being such a tank and Vice along with that. But I think the combination of both core shelter, frame instability, and Recon's passive armor break was just too much to conquer for AncientHeart's squad when it came down to it. I think also there could have been better uses of the stunning entry. He was kind of just constantly using that in the face of that Dino Vortex. Dino Vortex, I feel like, already does a lot in the way of positioning rigs in a bad situation. You can Dino Vortex and scatter laser really easily. That drops the damage output of those rigs, and then maybe you can save the stunning entry after that debuff wears off or something along those lines. I just don't know. I think really that AncientHeart probably could have taken another kill there or 2 had he been, I guess, a little more selective with his stunning entries there. But 20-19, the final score. Even Ohlee winning those team fights despite being a squad level behind. Really excellent play from both sides. AncientHeart coming out of the gate swinging and taking all the objectives, and Ohlee then managing somehow to bring it back from the jaws of defeat with that team wipe, with that excellent recon play, and all excellent all around. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for me here tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the match. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Find me on your favorite social media. I've got all that stuff. And if you have a replay you want to perhaps have featured on the channel, send me that replay game code at RedRupee20 at gmail.com. That's it for me, folks. I'll catch you guys next time.